Welcome, world, to the world of African biographies. On this channel, we discuss, get to know, and learn more about African legends, experts in sport, musicians, actors, scholars, and so many more. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Now let's get to know today's legend, and it is none than other Utamkhulu Govan Mbeki, who is famously known as the father of the second black president in South Africa, Mr. Thabo Mbeki. Now, when it comes to Govan Mbeki, he was friends with Mandela, and one thing that stood out for me, which I didn't know, but now I know, what happened is Robben Island, when Mandela was, they were imprisoned, no Mandela and other famous political leaders, and Mandela sometimes would write speeches, and he was supposed to say this in front of the judge. And Mandela, what he did, he was first reading the speech before Govan Mbeki, and he was like, "I don't care if you kill me, I'm gonna die. If you hang me, I don't care." And Mandela was very radical and was very straightforward, and Govan Mbeki was there actually to assist Mandela on one of his speeches. In fact, many of his delivery, because Mandela, the way that he delivered it, it was harsh. It was like he didn't care, but Govan Mbeki tried to mold him so that he does not seem disrespectful in front of the judge or defiant. Yes, the apartheid system was very, very, very bad. And this is the speech, the one that stood out for me, that Mandela is famous. He's famous for. The one that he said that I have fought against white domination and I have fought against black domination, and I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve, but if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Yes, so actually this was because of the help of Govan Mbeki, because he was like, Mandela, you don't want to push the judge to hang you, okay? We still have a long way to go, and thankfully now we have this eloquent speech from Mandela, and thanks to Govan Mbeki for that. And also I want to read some of his speeches, because he was also a writer, he was a journalist, so he was very intellectual as well, and he had a way with words. I mean, Mandela is famous for having a way with words, but let me tell you, Govan Mbeki has an influence on that. One of his speeches is, "The people of South Africa are not asking for charity. They are demanding their rights, and they will continue to struggle until those rights are achieved." Govan Mbeki speaking on the ANC struggle against apartheid. Here's another one. "We are not fighting for a society where one group dominates another, but for a South Africa where all can live in equality and freedom." The struggle, this is another one. "The struggle is not just against apartheid, it's for a society where poverty, inequality, and oppression are eradicated." And I quote, and that is from the eloquent speaker, Govan Mbeki. I don't know if it's just me, but the Mbeki family, some very, very handsome man. But I shouldn't be shocked. I mean, if you look objectively, Xhosa men are very, 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 very good looking. They're very handsome. They are very good looking. Okay. Now let's get to know Govan Mbeki deeper. Govan Archibald Mvunyelwa Mbeki, who was born on the 9th July 1910, was a South African politician, military commander, communist leader who served as the secretary of Umkhonto weSizwe at its inception in 1961. No. He was also the younger son of Chief Skeleu Mbeki and Joanna Mabula, and also the father of the former South African president Thabo Mbeki and political economist Moeletsi Mbeki. Govan Mbeki was a leader of the South African Communist Party and the African National Congress. After the Revenue trial, he was imprisoned in 1963 to 1987 on charges of terrorism and treason, together with Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, which I did a breakdown for. You can look on my list of other biographies if you want to know more about Walter Sisulu, Raymond Mhlaba, Ahmed Kadrada, and other eminent ANC leaders for their role in the ANC armed wing, Umkhonto weSizwe, MK. He was sometimes mentioned by his nickname, Omgav. Govan Mbeki was born in the Nqamakwe district of the Transkei region and was a part of the Xhosa ethnic group. As a teenager, Mbeki worked as a newsboy and messenger in the cities, and because of this, he saw the poverty urban black Africans lived in and the constant police raids they endured. He attended Forte University, completing in 1936 a Bachelor of Arts degree in politics and psychology and a teaching diploma. Mbeki met other African struggle leaders while attending the university. For a time, Mbeki worked as a teacher but lost his job because of his political activities. He was a member of the South African Communist Party, SACP, then the Communist Party of South Africa, or CPSA. From the late 1930s and joined the African National Congress in 1935. He then set up a cooperative store in Idutjwa and began writing career. Now I'm from the Eastern Cape. I know these places. This letter is from my village. It's from my tribe. I have to just put that in there. From 1938 to 1944, he was the editor of a territorial magazine, Inkundla Yabantu. Mbeki left journalism in 1944 and became a government-nominated member of the Transkei Territorial Authorities General Council until 1950. When the PSA or SACP was banned in 1950 by the apartheid government, Mbeki remained in the African National Congress, ANC, in 1952. He was imprisoned together with Raymond Mhlaba and Vuyisile Mini for 3 months in Rooi Hell. That is Red Hell. And the Rooi Hell, it is Afrikaans, or North End Prison, Port Elizabeth, for disobeying apartheid laws by participating in the campaign of defiance against injustice laws. Defiance campaign. In 1954, a tornado destroyed Mbeki's store and he was dismissed from teaching again. He would lose his job 3 times and be blacklisted from others from the 1930s onwards. Mbeki moved to Port Elizabeth and joined the editorial board of New Age, a prominent leftist newspaper linked to underground CPSA, SACP networks. He played a crucial role in ensuring that the pages and columns reflected in the condition, demands, and aspiration of black working class people. Aspiration of black working class people, particularly in the countryside. He also worked on The Guardian, New Age, Fighting Talk and Liberation, and worked with Jog Harold Strachan in the Port Elizabeth area and assisted him to produce the newsletter Izwi Lomzi, which means home voice. Mbeki was meanwhile actively involved in the major campaigns of the day, including the revival of the African National Congress in the 1940s, the Defiance Campaign, and the Congress of the People. Now, the armed struggle and Robben Island. In 1960, the ANC was banned, and along with the underground, SACP formed Umkhonto weSizwe, which is known as the MK, which became ANC's armed wing. Mbeki was involved, and at his arguing, Strachan assisted MK by turning his hand to improvised explosive devices based on the substances such as potassium, pomegranate, magnesium, glycerin, and icing sugar. This was our job. Devices and explosive. So I said, for God's sake, why me? And they said, no, well, You were a bomber pilot in the war. You see, you must know how to make bombs. I said, but for Christ's sake, Govan, Mbeki, we didn't make our own bombs. And they said, but you know about those things. And I said, no, bombs were made in the bloody factories. I don't know. So he said, anyway, you appointed. We did a good job, actually. This is Strachan quoted by Zoe Mulder. Meanwhile, in November 1962, then Minister of Justice John Forster banned New Age when the editorial board came out with its successor publication Spark. Forster went one step further by banning not the newspaper but its editors and writers. This effectively ended Mbeki's role as editor and journalist in the country. On 11 July 1963, he was arrested with another MK high commander. In 1964, he was accused in the Riverinial trial and then sentenced to Robben Island. Now, when it comes to his books, in 1939, Mbeki published his first book, Transkei in the Making, a supporter of the 1950 to 1961 Pondoland Peasant Revolt. He wrote the pioneering study of the movement South Africa, the Peasants' Revolt from 1958, which was published in 1964. Much of the book is an analysis of the political economy of the Transkei rather than the revolt itself. From the Riverinial trial, Mbeki served a long term on Robben Island, during which he managed to run education classes and prisoners, many on Marxist theory, and wrote a number of significant analysis jail, which were kept on the island and used for discussions. Now, the surviving copies were since been published. Now, in 1992, he published The Struggle of Liberation in South Africa, a short history, and in 1996, Sunset at Midday, La Chonilange Mini. Ooh, that's a good title. That could be a song. Mbeki was released from custody after serving 24 years in the Robben Island prison on 5 November 1987. He served in South Africa's post-apartheid Senate from 1994 to 1997 as deputy president of the Senate, and then the Senate successor, the National Council of Provinces, from 1997 to 1999. Mbeki died in Port Elizabeth on the 30th August 2001. He was given a state funeral during his son Thabo Mbeki's presidency on 8 September 2001. Govan Mbeki remains with the subject of controversy in 2006, where plans were made to exhume them together with Raymond Mhlaba's remains and place them in a museum. These plans were called off after both Mhlaba and Mbeki's family refused the request. Mbeki received an honorary doctorate in the social science from the University of Amsterdam. In 1978, his son Moeletse attended the ceremony as Mbeki was present at Robben Island. On 26 June 1980, the Secretary General of the Illegal African National Congress, Alfred Nzo, announced the conferring of the Isitwalandwe Medal, the ANC's highest honor. Mbeki, however, he was not present to receive the award because he was serving a life imprisonment sentence on Robben Island. This is so sad. Like, what? Like, you're being honored for being a humanitarian, but you're also being arrested for committing treason, for fighting for human rights. Mbeki received international recognition for his political achievement, including the renaming at Mandela's suggestion of the recently opened health building at Glasgow Caledonian University. The Govan Mbeki Health Building was inaugurated in 2001 at a ceremony featuring his son Thabo Mbeki. The Govan Mbeki local municipality in Mpumalanga is named in his honor. Order for Meritorious Services in Gold, 2003. In 2013, a large section of road between Swartklip and Baden Powell Road, running between the neighborhoods of Brown Farms, Gugulethu Nyanga, and Crossroads in Cape Town, were named Govan Mbeki Road. Now, Govan Mbeki's wife, if we're going to his personal life, Apeniet, I think that's how I pronounce the name, Apeniet Nomaka Mbeki, a liberation struggle veteran and community activist. They were married in 1940 and had 4 children together, Ulinda Thabo, Moletsi, and Jama. Apeniet Mbeki, she was a fellow teacher who became a dedicated political activist and a mother of former South African President Thabo Mbeki. Mbeki, born in 1941, died in 2003. Thabo Mbeki, born in 1942, he is the former president of South Africa. Moletsi Mbeki, born in 1945, he is a political and economic commentator. Jama Mbeki, born in 1948, died in 1982. He was also a student who disappeared during the anti-apartheid struggle. That is so sad. That is so sad. So many things that happened in the apartheid era it was just not things that, we look at and we smile, obviously. But I'm so glad that people actually fought, they fought. Now, his father was actually, Govan Mbeki's father was Chief Skelewu Mbeki, a respected leader in the Transkei region of South Africa. Chief Skelewu was a member of the Xhosa ethnic group and was known for his progressive views. And he was also a farmer and ran an ox wagon transport business. Now, since he was an activist, he joined the ANC in 1935 and later became a leader in the Communist Party. His activism led to imprisonment on Robben Island for 24 years alongside Nelson Mandela. Writing, Mbeki was a journalist and wrote The Transkei in the Making. After the release from prison, he continued political work, serving the South African first post-apartheid parliament. His sons, including Thabo Mbeki, South Africa's second president, and Moeletsi, a prominent economist. Now, ANC and the Communist Party. Mbeki was a key figure in both the ANC and the South African Communist Party, SACP. He saw the struggle against apartheid as intertwined with workers' rights. During his 24-year imprisonment, Mbeki was a leader among the political prisoners, engaging in debates and education. After release in 1987, Mbeki continued advocating for democracy and was elected as South Africa's first post-apartheid parliament. His work laid groundwork for South Africa's transition to democracy. His sons, Thabo and Moeletsi, followed his footsteps in politics and economics. Mbeki was a key leader among political prisoners, facilitating discussions on politics, economics, and strategy with fellow inmates like Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu. He played a significant role in the University of Robben Island, where prisoners educated each other on various subjects. Mbeki's leadership helped maintain unity and morale among prisoners despite harsh conditions. Mandela spoke highly of Mbeki's contributions to the anti-apartheid struggle and his leadership in Robben Island. Mandela and Mbeki were imprisoned together on Robben Island from 1964 until 1987 for Mbeki, 1962 to 1990 for Mandela. They developed a strong bond through shared struggles and intellectual debates. Mandela regarded Mbeki as a comrade and a mentor, valuing his insights on politics and economics. After Mbeki's release in 1987, he continued working with Mandela in the ANC, contributing to South Africa's transition to democracy. Mandela acknowledged Mbeki's crucial role in the anti-apartheid movement and his contributions to South Africa's early democratic years. Both were key figures in the ANC struggle against apartheid. Mbeki was part of the ANC's National Executive Committee. Mbeki contributed to shaping the ANC's strategy in the 1980 and 1990s, working with Mandela to build unity in the party. Mbeki played a role in the negotiations leading to South Africa's first democratic election in 1994, with Mandela as the ANC leader. Mandela valued Mbeki's experience and intellect, influencing some of Mandela's decisions as president. As he should. Mbeki dedicated his life to fighting apartheid. enduring 24 years on Robben Island. So surely he must have a seat where he can influence presidency, but he never himself wanted to be the president. He played a key role on both the ANC and South Africa's Communist Party. Mbeki's writings analyzed South Africa's political economy, influencing many. His sons, Thabo, South Africa's second president, and Moeletsi, economist, followed in his footsteps. Mbeki's life represents the struggle for democracy and equality in South Africa. Mbeki his books, The Transkei in the Making, 1939, is a significant work. The book examines the economic and political conditions in the Transkei, a key region in South Africa's apartheid-era homelands policy. Mbeki critiqued the government's manipulation of traditional structure and economic exploitation in the Transkei. The book reflects Mbeki's Marxist perspective, analyzing class dynamics and economic struggle in religion. The book is seen as an important analysis of apartheid-era policies and their impact on rural areas. Transkei in the Making is a product of Mbeki's time at Fort Hare University and his growth in involvement in politics. Mbeki wrote the book to highlight the struggle of the Transkei people under apartheid territorial segregation policies. The book contributes to Mbeki's reputation as a thoughtful analyst of South Africa's political economy and informed his activism. It explores land dispositions, migrant labor, and the erosion of traditional structure. The book remains a significant work on the Transkei's history and apartheid impact on rural South Africa. Land and labor. Mbeki's highlighted how apartheid policies led to land disposition and forced labor migration, disrupting Transkei's agrarian economy. He critiqued how the government co-opted traditional leaders, undermining their legitimacy. The book exposed how Transkei's resources were exploited, contributing to poverty and underdevelopment. The Transkei in the Making shaped Mbeki's understanding of apartheid economic roots, informing his work in the ANC and SACP. The Transkei in the Making, based on his studies and research, there is no widely known co-author credited for this book, so it is just solely him. The Transkei in the Making was lightly influenced by Mbeki's studies and interactions with other thinkers of his time. Mbeki's time at Fort Hare University exposed him to ideas that shaped his analysis. The book reflects Mbeki's commitment to understanding and challenging apartheid's impact on rural communities. Generally credited as a solo work by Govan Mbeki. Mbeki was influenced by his time at Fort Hare, interacting with other future leaders like Oliver Tambo. Mbeki's involvement with the South African Communist Party shaped his analysis of class and economic struggles. He played a key role in mobilizing support by the ANC's anti-apartheid struggle in the Transkei and beyond. Mbeki used writings to highlight apartheid's injustice and mobilize opposition. Govan Mbeki's close friends and comrades included prominent anti-apartheid figures Nelson Mandela. Mbeki and Mandela were comrades at Robben Island in the ANC. Walter Sisulu and Mbeki worked together in the ANC and were fellow prisoners at Robben Island, which was stated. Mbeki knew Tambo from Fort Hare and the ANC activities. Mbeki and Mandela developed a strong bond on Robben Island, sharing ideas and strategies together. And Mbeki and Sisulu worked closely in the ANC, coordinating activities and supporting each other. Mbeki and Tambo's paths crossed at Fort Hare, and in ANC were collaborating on anti-apartheid efforts. Mbeki, Mandela and Sisulu were the key figures in prisons, university debatings. Mbeki worked with Tambo and other of the ANC external missions, mobilizing international support. These relationships were crucial in sustaining the anti-apartheid struggle, with Mbeki playing a unifying role. After release, Mbeki continued working with the ANC, focusing on mobilization and strategy. Played a role in the ANC's unbanning and transition to democracy. Govan's work and ideas influenced his son Thabo's political path. Mbeki grew up in a rural area, experiencing firsthand the challenges of land disposition, raised in a devout Christian household, with his father being a teacher and a lay preacher. Mbeki excelled academically, extending Fort University a hub for future leaders. His mother was a teacher and his father a community leader, instilling a commitment to education and social justice. Mbeki studied under influential lecturers, deepening his understanding of politics and economics. At Forte, Mbeki's involvement in student politics laid the groundwork for his future activism. Mbeki's parents, especially his mother, encouraged education and community involvement. His upbringing instilled a sense of responsibility towards his people. Mbeki was part of a vibrant intellectual community, engaging with ideas that shaped his future work. He was influenced by lecturers like D.D.T. Jabavu. Born in Tlane, Mbeki grew up in a rural setting, experiencing poverty and inequality. And actually, Eastern Cape is still very much underdeveloped. I come from the Eastern Cape, and many of us, if we want opportunities, we leave the Eastern Cape and we would go to provinces like the Western Cape, and in my case right now, Gauteng. I mean, there are many people that are working in the Eastern Cape, but it's mainly like if you wanted to be a teacher, for a teacher's job, yes, because there are schools there, and obviously you would make a difference, a nurse and a doctor. But other than that, like artists, there are artists there, but when it comes to artist work, like we usually move to the Western Cape or the Gauteng area. And in my case, because I'm an artist, there was nothing really for me in the Eastern Cape, so it's quite underdeveloped. And there are places where there should be bridges where people like can't even cross, to go to the other side because there's water in between. The bridges are not built. Like, there's so much exploitation. It's actually very, very sad. His parents were devout Christians, emphasizing education and community service. Mbeki's family encouraged academic excellence and social responsibility. His parents emphasizing on education led him to excel academically. Growing up in Transkei, Mbeki saw the impact of poverty and inequality, fueling his interest in social justice. Mbeki's experiences and values led him to engage with politics and the ANC. The Govan Mbeki's autobiography, Learning from Robben Island, The Prison Writings. The book compiles Mbeki's reflection and analysis written during his imprisonment on Robben Island. Mbeki shares insights of his activism, the ANC, and the anti-apartheid movement. The autobiography offers a glimpse into Mbeki's thoughts and experiences as a political prisoner. Learning from Robben Island gives insight into Mbeki's time in prison. Mbeki reflects on the harsh conditions and the importance of solidarity among prisoners. He discusses how prisoners engage in debates and continued their political education. Mbeki highlights the prison's efforts to maintain dignity and resist apartheid depression. Mbeki's reflection on the struggle are powerful. Mbeki highlights the unity among political prisoners, including Mandela and Sisulu. Prisoners used limited resources to educate themselves and discuss politics. Mbeki's writings show his focus on building a future South Africa, even in prison. Govan Mbeki is married to Epiphania Mosiwe. They had several children, like I've discussed. Epiphania was a teacher, supported Mbeki's activism despite the personal cost. And it is a personal cost, because even I have done even Albertina Sisulu and Uwini Madikizela Mandela, how these women like held it together, raised like the children alone, obviously with the help of the community, but the men were in prison trying to fight for the country. And to get in personal relationship with this man, it's a cost. Like, you don't come first. The struggle is like the guy is married to the struggle first, and maybe you the second priority or the third. Like, these women went through it. Now, she was a teacher and an activist. She was involved in community work and supported women's organizations. Epiphania's influence on Tabo's upbringing played a role in leadership path. She faced challenges including Govan's imprisonment with resilience, like many other South African women who were married to this man. Now, both were committed to social justice and community upliftment. Epiphania supported Govan's work, often prioritizing family needs amidst his activism and imprisonment. Their collaboration values influenced their children, including Tabo's leadership. And he got arrested. Now, Govan Mbeki as a child was known to be inquisitive, driven, even from the young age. Grown up in the Transkei, Mbeki's experienced traditional Xhosa cultures and the challenges of rural life. And it is very challenging. I just come from there, guys. A sense of injustice. Mbeki's experiences with inequality and hardship shaped his interest in social justice. His parents encouraged education and community involvement. Mbeki saw poverty and inequality firsthand in Transkei. These experiences fueled his determination and addresses social justice. Mbeki's relationship with his sons. He had a close bond. Mbeki was close to his sons, including Thabo and Moletsi. Govan's activism and values shaped his son's perspective. Thabo followed his father's footsteps and became a key figure in the ANC. Now, when it comes to his favorite food, there's not much out there, but because he's a Xhosa man and given his upbringing, I would say he leaned more on the Xhosa cuisines. Mbeki lightly enjoyed traditional dishes like umngqusho, which is samp and beans, or amakwekwe, steamed cornmeal, which is baqolo actually, but I guess that's another name. Mbeki's dedicated his life to fighting the apartheid and improving South Africa. He valued family and was proud of his son's achievement. Given his involvement in the anti-apartheid movement, because I was trying to find out what his favorite songs, Mbeki lightly appreciated traditional liberation songs like Nkosi Sikelel' Africa, Huma Sikela, Brenda Fassie. Those artists really produce amazing songs for the liberation, and Miriam Makeba for liberation of South Africa, which I also did a breakdown on, so you guys can check those artists. So that's about it when it comes to Govan Mbeki. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, because this is such an interesting figure, and I believe like a movie should be made about him. A movie, definitely a movie. Maybe I'm the one that needs to do these movies, ne? Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I love you, and I will see you next time.